So I'm a dad, I'm a parent, I'm a dad or a mom, and I decide I want to coach my son or my daughter in the sport they're interested in. You know, what would you recommend? How do they get started, and what should their thoughts be in terms of what they're in it for? And let's talk about little kids. You know, the 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds, maybe playing volleyball or something like that. Where do they get started?
So I think if they can find an organized league that they can participate in whatever the sport it is, I think that would be great. Again, I would say just be aware of where you're coming from.
Mhm.
Why are you, I listen, I've had times where I was always the mom. I was
Mhm.
never the coach. So I was always like the soccer mom
Mhm.
or baseball mom or
Mhm.
football mom. And um and so I think when the as the coach is thinking about what they're doing,
Mhm.
right? You're thinking again about why are you doing it? What's motivating you? Is it just about, being out here with these little people, giving them a chance to maybe develop the love for the sport?
Mhm.
Um, Let them have some exercise, keep them out of trouble sometimes,
Mhm.
try to direct them in a particular direction. Like if that's your motivation, then that's great and that's awesome. The thing I would say is, so the degree to which you can build some skill set in your coaching matters.
Mhm.
So just because you played a sport doesn't mean you can coach it.
Mhm.
So you want to get some training in that coaching. That's why I think being part of some organized group, hopefully they're giving you training so that you can actually be a great coach
Mhm.
and not assume that, well, I'm a good parent, I played this sport, I can go out here and do it.
Right.
No, you want to get trained in how to be a great coach.
Right.
And then I think once you do that, you put some systems in place, right? I'm a firm believer that the best leaders have people around them who can tell them when they're wrong
Mhm.
and you can accept it when you
Mhm.
hear it.
Mhm.
So as a parent, whether it's other parents that I trust, whether it's the assistants or the other coaches working with me, I need to have a team of people so I can hear maybe
Mhm.
when I'm stepping across the line a little bit, maybe when I might be being super hard on my child, but great with everybody
Mhm.
else. So I need to have some people around me that can help me because we're human.
Right.
And, I'm a very competitive person myself. So just having people in your life that can kind of say, hold on. I think that's super important. But please get trained. Just because they're little and you think, oh, I'm just going to let them run around. I don't need to know what I'm doing. No, you do need to know what
Mhm.
you're doing because you're setting the foundation for something bigger.
Right. You want them to come back next year too.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So I'm coaching my daughter, in my case, or my son. What are the pitfalls there, and what should I be thinking about?
So one of the things that I'll say is to be careful with the blending of the relationship. So if you're coaching your son or your daughter, you want to make sure that when you're no longer playing your dad or your mom, you're not still coach.
Mm-hmm.
Coach needs to stay where coach is at.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing on a field, let your coaching end when you get off that field.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're back at home, you can just be mom or you can just be dad. So I think having some clear boundaries is really, really important. Um, I think, again, it's another space where having another person in your life who can kind of check you. You need a check and balance
Mm-hmm.
because it's so easy after a game. You get in the car, you start talking, you don't realize you're home, everybody's settled in, and you're still talking.
Right.
And that becomes destructive and harmful and doesn't help because now your child cannot move past the game.
Right.
So I think having really clear boundaries about how you do what you do, I think being able to separate the lines between parenting and coaching is very important. And then having systems in place that help you to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, oh, I'm not going to say all the time, but invariably, people will cross that line. We're human. It's just what do you do when that happens?
Mm-hmm.
So I just think making sure that you have some parallels in place. And when you find that it may not be as helpful, then it's okay for you to pull somebody in. It's not still a win. As long as your child is healthy and happy and doing what they love, you still win.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about whether you're the one coaching them or not.